girls, and welcome to Binge Free Bestie, the podcast where we ditch diets, break free from binge eating, and build a safe and empowered relationship with our bodies. I'm your host, Nick Galbedia. I'm a registered therapist and I totally get it. You see, binge eating woes and body image struggles are something I've been quite familiar with. Been there, done that, and guess what? I found my way to food freedom, and now I'm going to help you to do the same. This potty is going to be your go-to for real, evidence-based strategies from my therapy practice and from my own lived experience. So whether you're tired of that diet cycle, you're ready to ditch this shame spiral, or you just want to feel more confident in your own skin, then this is going to be the place for you. It's time to get real about food freedom, body acceptance, self-care, and building a life you truly love. Ready? Let's get into this, besties. Kia ora and welcome back to Binge Free Bestie. I'm your host Nick and we're here for the second episode of season 2, and I'm super stoked you're here. I'm super stoked I'm here, so let's dive into something super important. I wanted to make an episode today around guilt and shame, and I know that's going to be something really familiar to you because it certainly was for me, and it's a reality for every person who struggles with binge eating, because guilt and shame and binge eating, emotional eating, overeating, all of that stuff, it goes hand in hand with guilt and shame. And so today's episode, we're going to have a wee bit of a chat about how you can deal with that guilt. Specifically, how you can deal with that guilt after you've just had a binge, because that is bloody hard. Okay, it's bloody hard because you don't really tend to share that with anyone, right? You feel really isolated, you feel ashamed of yourself, you beat yourself up, and eventually it leads to another diet because you feel so shit about what you did, i.e. binge, that you punish yourself, you berate yourself, you bully yourself, and then you end up putting yourself back on that next friggin' diet because it's the only way you feel like you can make up for that naughty, awful, horrible thing that you did. Okay, so before we get stuck in that cycle, that binge restrict cycle, let's have a chat about how to address that guilt so that you don't go round and around in that bloody circle. So first up, let's talk about why guilt shows up after a binge. Let's dive into that a little deeper, and I just want you to know that it's not random. It's a product of diet culture. So diet culture has it drilled into us that certain foods are either good, nice, clean, and others are bad or naughty, treats, guilty foods. And when we eat those so-called bad foods, we feel like we've failed, not just at the diet, but we feel like we've failed as a person. And this guilt creates this terrible internal dialogue, such as, why the heck did I do that? I'm such a failure. I'm never going to be able to do this. I'm the shitty one. But here's the thing. Guilt and beating yourself up does not fix anything, and it doesn't change the fact that the binge happened. And it also doesn't help you to stop binge eating again in the future. In fact, that guilt that you feel post-binge leads to more restriction. So it leads to more skipping meals, swearing off certain foods, but this is only setting you up for a binge later. So vicious cycle here, and we've touched on it in other episodes. That cycle is not your fault. It's the nature of dieting and restriction. So let's talk about what not to do after a binge. So number 1 is, please don't skip your next meal. So if you have a binge and then you try to compensate for it by skipping your next meal, that's only going to leave your body underfed and hungry, which is going to lead you to another binge. So please, if you binge today, please let yourself have your dinner. You deserve it and you need it. Number 2 is, do not punish yourself with excessive exercise or restriction. So this reinforces the idea that you need to earn or undo the binge or the food that you ate. And again, that just keeps you stuck in that cycle. Third, please don't beat yourself up. Self-criticism and bullying is only going to add to your emotional load, and you're already carrying enough shit, okay? So I get it because I've done all these things too, and I thought that if I just worked harder or restricted more, or if I only stuck to the plan, then I could fix myself, but that just kept me stuck. And so that's exactly what I do with my clients and what I did to myself in my Breakup with Binge Eating course. You don't need to be doing more restriction after a binge. What you need to do is you need to try a new approach. So let's talk about what you should, or what I'd like to invite you to try next time you have a binge. Okay, so there's a few steps to this, and it's actually not rocket science, though I know it probably feels like it does now. Step 1 is take a breath, hit pause. Remind yourself that this binge, this so-called slip up, is just a moment and it doesn't define you. The binge is not a reflection of your worth at all. You could try like a mantra or something and say, hey, I'm only human, I'm learning, I'm getting a hold of this binge eating, and it's okay. Step 2, try binge analysis. So this is one of the tools that I teach in my program. And a binge analysis is where, instead of spiraling down into that guilt, I want you to get curious about why the binge happened. So you can ask yourself a few questions, and the first is, was I physically hungry, or perhaps was I restricting my food earlier today? Was I maybe feeling a bit stressed or lonely or upset? Could that be what triggered my binge? What's been happening in my environment? Did something happen today and I was eating that food to serve? Okay, so this isn't about judgment. It's just about understanding the triggers behind your binge eating. And when you know your triggers, you can tackle them. It's just about getting some more information about you so that you can learn how to look after yourself a little better. When you know your triggers and you can start to address those triggers in a healthier way, that's when you're going to be able to break up with binge eating. So the final thing that I want you to do is reset with some nourishment. So instead of punishing yourself, I want you to focus on eating that next meal or snack and make it something balanced and satisfying. And this is going to help to rebuild your trust with your body, because right now I don't think she probably trusts you very much. So give her the food that she needs. You might feel like you don't need it because you ate too many calories, but you still need to have a good meal. You still need to put some stuff in your body that's like proteins, carbs, some soul food, some fats, all of that stuff your body and your brain needs to function so that you can make good decisions and carry on with your life. So rebuild trust with your body by giving her something she needs to fuel. Practice self-compassion as well. I want you to remind yourself that recovery from binge eating is a process. Slip-ups does not mean you've failed. They're opportunities to learn. So be kind to yourself in these moments. If you have a binge, it's just a slip-up. It's a learning opportunity. Use kind words like you'd use to a friend. Okay? And I want to make a quick note here about resistance to change, because probably you might be thinking, Nick, that sounds good, but it's really not that simple, because I've tried this before and it hasn't worked and I suck and none of this works for me because I'm the exception for the rule. I just want to say you're not the exception for the rule here, but I totally hear you, because change is not easy at all. It requires trying new things. It requires staying consistent, and it means that you have to be willing to let go of old habits like dieting, restriction. And even though I know that you know they hurt you, it's still comfortable for you, right? It's your safety blanket. But that's why I'm doing this work, because I was in the same position, eating and, planning my binges on the way home, and knowing that when I got home, I was going to eat this, and that, and that gave me a sense of peace and comfort and a sense of control. So I understand how it can feel super uncomfortable when I'm telling you, hey, there's another way, and I'm asking you to change habits, and I'm asking you to give up one of your coping mechanisms, which is overeating. But that's why I created Break Up with Binge Eating and this podcast and everything I do, because it's time to learn that this is not about quick fixes, and it's got nothing to do with your willpower. It's about learning tools to reduce the frequency of your binges. Eventually it will go down to nothing. And it's about learning to heal your relationship with food and eating, and to replace that tool, maladaptive tool of binge eating, with a confident and peaceful way of eating. So myself included, and my clients, we've done this work, or we're still doing this work. It's a journey, and I know that you can too. So let's recap about today's action points. So here's what I want you to take away from today's episode. Number 1, please don't skip meals or punish yourself after a binge. Number 2, get curious instead of judgmental. So try doing that binge analysis. And number 3 is reset with some nourishment and self-compassion. If this episode has resonated with you, I really, really love for you to take the next step. And that could possibly be to connect with me and take a wee look at Break Up with Binge Eating. I want to teach you more strategies just like these. And I've actually got a whole heap more actually. And I'm going to teach you how to start applying food freedom, my food freedom method. That's going to support you to have a new confident relationship with food. And yes, that is totally possible. So next round is in March. I'm going to open the doors kind of like mid-March for the waitlist, and whoever's on that waitlist gets first dibs for the spots. So if you're ready, link is in the show notes for how to get on that waitlist. I really want you to be there. If this is feeling like helpful information, if this is resonating, then perhaps that's a sign for you to take the next step. Before I go, I just want to say, as always, food freedom, it is actually possible. And you deserve it. You deserve food freedom. It's real. It's possible. You can get there. I want to help you out. I will be popping in here on this potty every single week. So if you want more, I'll catch you next week. I'll see you then. Hey besties, that is a wrap for this episode. If you're feeling fired up and you're ready to dive a little deeper, then let's chat about how you can keep that momentum going. First, you can find me on all your fave socials at Binge Free Bestie. You're going to get lots of daily inspo there, more strategies, and a healthy dose of body positivity. Then, if you want to start your food freedom journey, then you're going to need to grab my totally free guide, The Overeater's Fix. That is easy to find in my show notes. And finally, if this episode has inspired you to take the first step in healing your relationship with food and you're ready to break up with binge eating, then my online course is exactly where you need to be. It's a powerful blend of coaching with me, Nick, and a supportive Binge Free Bestie community, engaging discussion forums, transformative learning modules, and a mindfulness library that's packed with strategies to help you ditch dieting and embrace lasting food freedom. Next round is starting really soon, so if you don't want to miss out on that, then join the waitlist. Link is in the show notes. Okay, that's all from me today, but if this episode has been helpful, please hit follow. And if you're feeling extra kind, maybe consider leaving me a review on your fave platform. Please, please, please remember, you are so worthy of food freedom and body peace. Please take care of your beautiful self, and I'll catch you next time for another empowering episode. Ciao for now.